Hello, my dear friends. Today I want to tell you a simple story. This story is about my journey to learn English. It is not a story of magic. It is not a story of talent. It is a story of small steps, taken every day. When I was young, I was afraid of English. The words looked strange. The sounds were difficult. When I listened to other people speaking English, I felt lost. I told myself, maybe English is not for me. But deep inside my heart, I had a dream. I wanted to travel. I wanted to talk with people from other countries. I wanted to understand movies, songs, and books in English. I wanted to grow. So I made a decision. I will learn English, step by step. I will not give up. The first days were hard. I opened a book, but I could only understand one or two words. I listened to English, but it was too fast. I tried to speak, but my tongue felt heavy. I made mistakes again and again. Sometimes I felt embarrassed. Sometimes I wanted to quit. But then I told myself something very important. Every big journey starts with a small step. If I take one step today, I will be closer than yesterday. If I take another step tomorrow, I will be even closer. So I began to learn in a simple way. Just one new word each day. Just one short sentence each day. Just one small conversation with myself in the mirror. It was not much, but it was enough to keep me moving. Slowly, English was not so strange anymore. The words became familiar. The sounds became music to my ears. I started to enjoy learning. I started to believe in myself. This is how my journey began. Not with speed, not with talent, but with courage, patience, and simple steps. And today, I want to share with you my simple way to learn English. If I can do it, you can do it too. Let us walk together on this journey.
Every morning is a new beginning. When the sun rises, I also rise. The morning is quiet. The world is still fresh and peaceful. It is the best time to prepare my mind for the day. I wake up early, usually at 6 o'clock. The first thing I do is smile. Yes, I smile to myself. I say, "Good morning, new day. Good morning, new chance." This small action gives me energy. Then I drink a glass of water. Water is simple but powerful. It wakes me up. It makes me feel alive. While I drink, I say one English word to myself. For example, water, life, fresh. I repeat the words softly, like a secret mantra. After that, I brush my teeth and wash my face. I look into the mirror, and I practice one English sentence. It can be very short. I am awake. I feel good. Today is my day. It sounds simple, but it trains my mouth. It trains my brain. It gives me confidence. Breakfast is also part of my learning. When I eat bread, I say bread. When I eat rice, I say rice. When I drink tea, I say tea. I connect English words with real things in front of me. This makes learning natural and easy. Sometimes I play English music in the background, a soft song, a simple tune. I do not understand every word, but that is fine. The sound of English enters my ears. It becomes part of my life. In the morning, I do not study long. Just 10 minutes is enough. One new word, one short sentence, one little practice in the mirror. That is all. Because learning is not about speed. It is about habit. Day by day, my morning routine became my secret power. While other people still sleep, I am already learning. While others complain about time, I already used mine. Step by step, this routine changed me. The morning is the seed of the day. If you plant good habits in the morning, you will harvest good results in the evening. So I tell myself every day, start simple, start small, but start now.
Learning does not only happen in the classroom. Learning does not only happen in books. Learning can happen everywhere, every day. This is my simple discovery. Life is the best teacher. When I walk outside, I see many things. I see a tree. I say, tree. I see the sky. I say, sky. I see children playing. I say, children. Suddenly, the street becomes my classroom. When I go to the market, I practice more. I see bananas. I whisper, banana. I see rice. I say, rice. I see a chicken. I smile and say, chicken. People look at me, but I don't mind. I am learning. And learning is beautiful. Sometimes I talk to myself in English. I walk and I think, I am walking. I see a shop. The shop is small. It is like telling a story of my life in English. I am both the speaker and the listener. At first, it felt strange. I thought, am I crazy? Talking to myself? But later, I realized it is not crazy, it is smart. Because practice makes progress. Another way I learn is by asking questions in my mind. For example, what is this called in English? How do I say this feeling in English? When I don't know, I look it up in the dictionary. The next time I see it, I already know the word. I also listen carefully to English around me. On the bus, I hear a song. At the cafe, I hear tourists talking. On the internet, I hear a short video. Every sound is a chance to learn. Sometimes I don't understand everything, but I catch one word, maybe two words, and that is enough. Step by step, I realize I don't need to wait for a perfect teacher. I don't need to wait for a big class. My teacher is life. My class is everywhere. Every object, every sound, every person is part of my lesson. This way, learning becomes natural. It is not heavy. It is not boring. It is light, fun, and full of discovery. So I tell myself, open your eyes, open your ears, open your heart. The world is full of English. You just need to notice it.
4. One of the most powerful ways I improved my English was by reading simple stories. Not long, not difficult, but short and easy stories. We call them graded readers. At first, I was afraid of reading in English. The words looked too many. The pages looked too long. I thought, I cannot do this. But then I found a very small book. It had pictures. It had short sentences. It was like a story for children. I thought, maybe this is the right place to start. So I opened the first page. It said, "This is a boy. His name is Tom." I smiled. I could understand it. I read more. The boy has a dog. The dog is happy. Again, I understood. The story was simple, but it gave me confidence. Every night, I read a few pages. Sometimes only one page, sometimes more. The important thing was not speed. The important thing was to enjoy the story. Slowly, I started to know many words. Boy, dog, happy, play, run, house. These words became my friends. I did not just memorize them. I met them again and again in different stories. That is how they stayed in my mind. Reading also improved my imagination. When I read, I could see the story in my head. I could feel the characters. I could hear the conversations. It was like watching a movie inside my mind. Later, I moved to longer books. Still simple, but with more details. Sometimes I used a dictionary, but I did not stop for every word. I only looked for words I really needed. The rest I guessed from the story. This habit changed my English. Reading gave me vocabulary. Reading gave me grammar. Reading gave me confidence. Most of all, reading gave me joy. So, if you want to learn English, start with a small story. Do not worry if it looks too easy. Easy is good. Easy is the door to difficult. Once you enjoy the easy, you will naturally move to harder books. Remember, a reader today, a speaker tomorrow.
If reading gave me new words, listening gave me new music. Yes, music of the language. Because every language has its own rhythm, its own melody, its own sound. At first, English sounded too fast for me. It was like rain falling on the roof. I heard the sound, but I could not catch the drops. People spoke, but the words ran away from me. I felt lost. I thought, how can I ever understand this? But then I remembered, babies do not understand at first either. They listen for many months before they speak. So I told myself, do the same. Listen, listen, and listen again. Every day I listen to English. Sometimes a song, sometimes a podcast, sometimes a short video. I did not care if I understood everything. The goal was not perfect understanding. The goal was to let English enter my ears. In the beginning, I listened with subtitles. When I watched the short video, I read the words at the same time. My eyes and my ears worked together. It was like holding the hands of two friends. Later, I turned off the subtitles. I just listened. At first, it felt empty, but slowly I began to catch words. I heard hello, good, today, thank you. Little by little, I understood more. One of my favorite practices was shadowing. I listened to one short sentence, then I repeated it immediately, like an echo, like a shadow. Sometimes my pronunciation was not perfect, but my mouth was moving, my brain was learning. I also made listening part of my daily life. When I washed dishes, I listened to a podcast. When I walked outside, I listened to English songs. When I was on the bus, I listened to short stories.
English was no longer only in the classroom, it was with me everywhere. This habit changed my ears. The fast sound became slower. The strange sound became familiar. I started to hear not only words, but also feelings in the voice. Happy, sad, angry, excited, all through the sound of English. Now I understand this truth. To speak well, listen well first. Listening is not passive. It is active training. It is building a home for English in your heart. So I tell myself and my friends, listen every day. Even 5 minutes is enough. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Your ears are the doorway to your voice.
When I started speaking English, I was very afraid. I thought, what if I make a mistake? What if people laugh at me? This fear was very strong. For many months, I stayed quiet. I only listened, but I never spoke. I waited for the perfect time. But the truth is, there is no perfect time. If we wait until we are perfect, we will never speak. So I told myself, be brave, open your mouth, say something, even if it is small. The first time I spoke, my voice was shaking. I said only one simple sentence. Hello, my name is... My heart was beating fast, but I felt proud. That small sentence was the beginning of my journey. After that, I tried to speak more. Sometimes I made mistakes, but people understood me. They smiled and they encouraged me. I learned that mistakes are not the enemy. Mistakes are teachers. Every time I said something wrong, I learned how to say it better the next time. I began to practice speaking alone. I stood in front of the mirror and talked to myself. I said, "Good morning. How are you today?" "I am fine, thank you." I repeated these lines again and again. At first, it felt strange, but slowly I became comfortable. Speaking to myself gave me confidence. It was like exercise for my mouth. Just as we exercise our body in the gym, we exercise our tongue with English sounds. Then, I started speaking with friends. I found a small group who also wanted to practice. We met once a week and spoke only in English. Sometimes our conversations were very short. Sometimes we laughed at our strange grammar. But we supported each other. We were not afraid because we were learning together. That feeling was powerful. We discovered that speaking English is not about being perfect. It is about being brave. Later, I spoke with travelers and tourists. They did not care if my English was perfect. They only cared that we could communicate. They smiled when I tried. I realized that people are kind. They do not laugh at you if you are trying. Instead, they respect you for making the effort. Speaking without fear is the key to learning English. The more you speak, the faster you improve. Do not wait until you are ready. Do not wait until you know everything. Speak now. Speak small. Speak often. Remember, your first sentence may be short, but it is the first step to a long journey. So, my advice is simple. Be brave, not perfect. Mistakes are part of the game. Every mistake is a step forward. Open your mouth, use your voice, and share your English with the world.
When I first learned English, I wanted to speak quickly. But soon I realized something very important. Before you can speak well, you must listen well. Listening is like the foundation of a house. Without a strong foundation, the house will fall. Without good listening, speaking cannot grow. At the beginning, listening to English was very difficult. People spoke too fast. The words connected together, and I could not separate them. Sometimes I only caught 1 or 2 words. I felt lost. I thought, maybe I am not good at English. But then I discovered a simple secret. Do not try to understand every word. Instead, listen for the feeling, the main idea, the rhythm. It is like listening to music. You may not understand every note, but you can enjoy the song. I started with easy listening materials, children's stories, short podcasts, and songs. I repeated them many times. The first time, I understood only 20%. The second time, maybe 40%. The third time, 60%. With each listen, I understood more. Repetition was the key. Listening once is not enough. Listening again and again helps the brain recognize sounds naturally. I also practiced active listening. This means listening carefully, not just hearing. For example, when I watched a short video, I paused after each sentence. I repeated the words with my mouth. I copied the speaker's sound, rhythm, and intonation. This exercise is called shadowing. It felt like singing along with English. At first it was hard, but later it became fun. Shadowing helped me speak more fluently because my brain and mouth were trained together. Sometimes I listened without pressure. I played English music while I cleaned my room. I listened to stories while walking in the park. I did not try to translate. I just let the sounds enter my ears. This passive listening made English feel like a natural part of my life. One day, I noticed something amazing. A tourist asked me a question, and I understood without thinking. I did not translate in my head. The answer came naturally. That was the power of listening. My brain was learning silently, in the background, every time I listened. Listening with your heart means more than using your ears. It means being patient, relaxed, and open. Do not fight the language. Do not stress over every unknown word. Instead, enjoy the process. Feel the rhythm, the melody, the music of English. Slowly, without even noticing, you will understand more and more. So remember, to speak better, first listen better. Listen every day, even for just 10 minutes. Listen with your heart, not only with your mind. And one day, you will discover that English is no longer a foreign sound. It will be part of your own voice.
When I was a child, I loved reading stories in my own language. Books opened doors to new worlds, exciting adventures, and deep emotions. But when I started learning English, reading felt heavy and difficult. I saw many new words. I tried to translate everything. I became tired quickly. I thought reading in English was only for exams or homework. But one day, everything changed. I discovered graded readers. Books written in simple English, step by step, from easy to harder levels. The first book I read was very short, only a few pages. The sentences were simple, the words were clear, and the story was fun. I felt proud because I could finish a whole book in English. It was a small victory, but it gave me big motivation. Reading for joy means you do not read only for tests or for work. You read because you enjoy it. You read because you want to know what happens next. When I read stories, I forgot that I was learning English. I was just enjoying the adventure. My brain was learning in the background, quietly and naturally. At first, I chose books about things I already liked: travel, friendship, mysteries, and simple love stories. Because the topics were interesting, I wanted to continue reading. Even if I did not understand every word, I could still follow the story. Slowly, my vocabulary grew. Words that once felt strange became familiar friends. I also discovered the power of reading aloud. Sometimes I read the story with my voice. I spoke the words clearly, sentence by sentence. It was like practicing speaking while reading. I could hear the rhythm of English, and I could feel the language in my mouth. Reading aloud helped me connect listening, speaking, and reading all at once. Another secret was rereading. I read the same story 2 or 3 times. The first time, it was difficult. The second time, it became easier. The third time, it felt natural. Each reading gave me more confidence, and when I finished, I felt happy, like I had climbed a small mountain. One of my favorite experiences was reading The Secret Garden. It was a simple version in English, but the story was full of magic. I followed the characters, their struggles, and their growth. When I closed the book, I realized I had lived inside another world, using English. That feeling was priceless. Reading for joy is not about speed. It is not about understanding every detail. It is about enjoying the journey. When you read something you love, learning becomes light and natural. English becomes your friend, not your enemy. So my advice is, choose a book that is simple, choose a story that you like, and just start reading. Read for joy, not for pressure. And slowly, without noticing, your English will grow, page by page, story by story, book by book.
When I first tried writing in English, I was afraid. My mind was full of doubts. What if I make mistakes? What if my grammar is wrong? What if nobody understands me? Because of these fears, I avoided writing. I only wrote when the teacher asked me to. But then I realized something important. Writing is not about perfection, it is about expression. Writing gives you power. When you write, you take your thoughts, your feelings, your stories, and put them into words. You do not need to speak fast. You do not need to worry about forgetting a word. You can take your time. You can look at your sentences again. You can change them, improve them, and make them stronger. Writing is like building a house. Slowly, brick by brick, your ideas become clear. I started small. Every morning, I wrote 3 simple sentences in English. For example, today the weather is sunny. I feel happy. I want to drink coffee. At first, it looked too simple, almost like a child's writing, but that was fine. The important thing was to start. The habit was more important than the level. After some weeks, I tried writing a short diary. Just 5 minutes before bed, I wrote about my day. Sometimes it was boring. I went to work, I was tired, I watched TV. But sometimes I wrote about my feelings, my dreams, or something funny that happened. Slowly, my sentences became longer. I used new words. I practiced new grammar naturally, without stress. One powerful method was free writing. I set a timer for 5 minutes and wrote without stopping. I did not care about mistakes. I did not check grammar. I just let my thoughts flow in English. At first, it was messy, but then it became easier. Free writing helped me think directly in English. Another method was story rewriting. After I read a graded reader or watched a short video, I tried to retell the story in my own words. It did not need to be perfect. Even a few sentences were good. By rewriting stories, I practiced vocabulary and sentence structure naturally. I also enjoyed sharing my writing. Sometimes I posted a short paragraph on social media. My friends gave likes or comments. Some even corrected small mistakes. Instead of feeling shy, I felt motivated. My writing was not only for myself, but also for connection with others. Writing is also a mirror. When you write, you can see your progress. You can look back at your old notebook after 3 months and realize, wow, I can write better now. This progress gives you hope and energy to continue learning. So my advice is simple. Write a little every day. Do not wait until your English is perfect. Do not be afraid of mistakes. Just write your thoughts, your day, your stories. Over time, these small drops of writing will become a river of expression. And through writing, your English will grow deeper, stronger, and more personal.
Now we have come to the final part of this journey. We talked about reading, listening, speaking, vocabulary, grammar, and writing. Each step was small, simple, and clear. None of these steps is too difficult, but together they make a strong path, a road that will lead you to confidence in English. Learning English is like building a bridge. At first, you only have pieces, words, phrases, short sentences. But when you put the pieces together, when you read a little, listen a little, speak a little, and write a little, you create something solid. You create a bridge between your world and the world of English. And this bridge can carry you anywhere you want to go. Travel, study, work, or simply making friends around the world. Remember, the secret is not to study hard for 1 week and then stop. The secret is to study a little bit every day. 10 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of listening, a short diary, a small conversation. These small moments add up. Day by day, they build your confidence. Another important key is to enjoy the process. If you only study because you feel pressure, you will soon become tired. But if you choose books, videos, songs, or topics that you love, English will not feel like a heavy subject. It will feel like a friend who helps you explore more of the world. And don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are not enemies. Mistakes are teachers. Every mistake shows you where to grow. Every mistake is a sign that you are trying, and trying is always better than doing nothing. So, here is my final message to you. Be patient, be curious, and be consistent. English is not a race. It is a journey. Walk step by step. Celebrate your progress. Enjoy every new word, every new sentence, every new conversation. If you ever feel lost, remember the simple ways we talked about in these 10 parts. Go back to reading something easy. Listen to a short story. Write 3 sentences in your notebook. Speak a few lines to yourself in the mirror. These small actions will always bring you back on track. And now, I want to thank you, my dear friend, for walking with me until the end of this series. You stayed until the last part, and that shows your strong heart and your true desire to improve. I believe in you. I believe that you can do it. So, let us say goodbye for now, but remember, this is not the end. This is only the beginning of your English journey. Keep practicing. Keep smiling, and keep believing. Thank you for listening, thank you for learning, and thank you for sharing this time with me. Until we meet again, take care, stay inspired, and keep moving forward with English. See you soon, my friend. Goodbye.